Hey everyone, welcome back to Out Here, Finding Freedom After 50. I'm your host, Tom, and it has been a little while, gotta say, and I apologize, but it has been a bit of a whirlwind the last, I'm guessing at least 2.5 months since my last episode. And it is what it is. Life gets in the way. Work has been very busy. Trying to stay ahead of seasonal affective depression was very challenging this year. It's been a very difficult winter. And I was away recently. I made the decision on March break to take a road trip. I didn't really want to go away to a resort and sticking around home. I did that at Christmas and did that also in November. And I just thought, I need to get away. I need to change my headspace. I need to change my surroundings. And I recently bought a slide-in camper for my Ford Super Duty that I bought in September. I took it for a brief trip in the fall up to Lake Superior Provincial Park and then basically put it away for the winter. I dug it out and loaded it in the truck, and I decided I am going to head down to the American Southwest. I absolutely love the desert in the Southwest. I love Utah, Arizona, New Mexico. It's absolutely stunning scenery down there. And my goal was to break out cameras, make some YouTube content, also do some actual landscape photography because it's one of my favorite hobbies. And let's just say things didn't go as planned. For instance, I never took my high-end camera gear out of the bag. I didn't film a single clip for YouTube or Instagram because things didn't go as planned. About 90% of the way there, I was pulled over at a rest stop in Colorado, someplace called No Name. Literally, No Name rest stop, No Name road. Very cool location. And I was really tired. I thought, well, it's time to take a little nap and rest. And when I went to climb into the camper, I noticed something was a little bit off with how the camper was situated in the bed of the truck. And I took a closer look. I don't know, for those of you that never had a sliding camper, is essentially an RV but fits in the back of your truck. And it's very comfortable. You have like your fridge, you have your stove, you have a little bathroom, you have a queen size bed over the cab of the truck. It's quite nice, but it's held in by these anchor points that attach to pieces of metal welded onto the frame of your truck with turnbuckles. And I noticed one of the turnbuckles seemed a bit loose, and I noticed the anchor point attached to the camper had sagged down. And I tightened it up, and I noticed it just wasn't getting tight. So I had another 3 or 4 hours to go, and I eventually got down to Moab, Utah. Stunning location. I stayed at the KOA campground there. I brought my dog Lucas along, and I spoke to the ladies in the office, and I go, I noticed I have a problem with my sliding camper. Is there a RV dealership in town? And they're like, no, there isn't, but there are people here who service the area. They're licensed RV techs, and if you just Google them, you'll find someone. So I had a RV tech come out to Moab to look at the camper, and he didn't have anything positive to say about it. And he didn't consider it safe to, as it was, to drive without some type of reinforcement. Not knowing what kind of support I would have from the dealership that I bought it from, I was basically planning on worst case scenario. What do I do? Like I said to him, if it was yours, what would you do? And he's literally, if I had to pay to fix it, he goes, it's scrap. It is not worth fixing. It'll cost you way too much money. So that whole mindset was a bit of a mind fuck, to be honest with you. And just, I still managed to do some things to enjoy my time down there, but it was definitely overshadowing the entire time I had to spend in the Southwest. And this tech came out on the weekend, and the dealership wasn't open until the following week. I sent an email with the guy's report and the photographs and basically said, how are you guys going to make this right? And I really didn't know what to expect. It was just what happens next kind of mentality. Luckily, I did hear back from them, and they said they're 100% committed to making this right, because this is not what they sell. This is a used camper I bought from them that was 5 years old. And they said, as long as you can get it back here, they will look at it and do whatever it takes to fix it. So that was reassuring. My time was shortly up thereafter in the Southwest. I didn't do my little circle tour I was planning to do. I didn't hit the national parks I was planning to do. I just drove around a bit. I did some exploring. I enjoyed just the local trails in Moab, and it was really nice. I really enjoyed it. The drive down, before I noticed there was things wrong with the camper, again, I crossed America's heartland, and it was just perfect driving weather, stunning scenery. Even though it was wintertime, like the heartland was absolutely beautiful to drive through. I really enjoyed it. So while I was away, there was a major snowstorm, probably one and a quarter century type storm. That's how severe it was. And it dumped close to 4 feet of snow back home. And I was quite happy not to be here for that. So on the way down to Moab, I was basically getting what I wanted out of the trip. I was on not quite cloud nine, quite happy, quite distracted by all the scenery, the perfect driving weather, light traffic, easy to find places to stay on the way down. I was just thrilled when I was going through the mountains in Colorado to get over to Utah. It was everything I had hoped for. But once I got hit with the camper issues, it brought reality back, and certain things in reality that I don't want to bring back, namely the depression, the mental health challenges. And it was tough. It was really tough. When I got the good news from the dealership that they were going to make it right, that helped bolster my spirits back up. And the drive home, again, was pretty decent. Everything went well, no problems. But when I got home, the dark, gray weather, lack of sunshine, like the whole trip was sunshine. Come back to the Great Lakes and boom, it's gray, cold, damp. Just, thank you very much, printer. Anyway, sorry about that. Are you done? Yes, it's done now. Yeah, so back to the Great Lakes, back to the gray weather, dark, dreary. I was happy to see my friends and filming on the trip and the fiasco about the trailer or the camper, and went up for some nice dinners. But still, right away, the gray, the oppressive. If you suffer from either SAD or if you suffer from depression, you know what I'm talking about. It's just this oppressive energy that gets in the way of you enjoying the things that you should normally be doing, normally enjoying. It came to a head when I was back at home, and this is literally yesterday. I'm like, okay, I'm back. It's been over a week since I was able to enjoy a sauna. Let's dig that path. And the storm had completely obliterated the path from my house to the sauna, which is about at least 100 feet, if not 150 feet. Hi, Lucas. Yes, you're a good boy. You want to be on the podcast too? Camera didn't see you, though, I don't. But they can hear you. The clip-clopping around. So it was completely obliterated, completely drifted in, but with at least anywhere between 3 and 5 feet deep of snow. And I fired up my tractor, and it's a Kubota with a loader in the front, 50 horsepower, like small farm-sized tractor. And it was like trying to cut through wet, hard concrete. And it was just giving me nothing but trouble. I was getting stuck. I was gouging the ground. Nothing was going right. I was just getting extremely pissed off. And then I finally got down to the sauna building itself, but between where I was and the actual patio doors that opened into the sauna, it was anywhere between 2 and 3 feet of, again, this hard, heavy, wet, packed cement like snow. And I just said, fuck it. Winter's won. I'll use this goddamn thing in the spring. And I just gave up. And I ended up going to a friend's house. I unfortunately decided to indulge in some alcohol, even though I'd promised myself I'd quit drinking. It was bad, but I just felt like I needed the release. And I did. Unfortunately, it was a bad pathway to cheering myself up, but I did manage to cheer myself up between the company and the alcohol and the stories and the laughing and whatever. So I walked over to my friend's house and I walked back. It was about 11:30 at night by the time I got back. I had my little LED headlamp on. And I went to bed, slept horrible, woke up way too early, and just felt like crap. And I knew why I felt like crap. I did it to myself. That's one of the reasons I didn't want to drink anymore, is I don't want to spend half a day, 3/4 of a day trying to recover from the great night before. So Sunday, today was the day I'm recording this. I wake up feeling like crap, whatever. I made plans to go with my friend to the town to get groceries and have breakfast, which we did. I got back. I was exhausted. I had a nap. When I woke up from my nap, I was feeling pretty good. I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. Winter is not winning. I'm going to dig my way in. And I grabbed a square mouth metal shovel. I dug my way into the sauna. It was a lot of work. That was my exercise for today, was that shoveling. It was a lot of work, very hard. I had to take lots of breaks. I could feel my heart rate racing at times. And I thankfully got the sauna going. And I'm like, you know what? It's middle of the afternoon. And I'm going to have a sauna anyways. I usually have them in the evenings. I'm like, I did it. I'm going to make the best of this. And I had an awesome sauna today. Probably 5 rounds, probably close to 2 hours, an hour and a half for sure, with heat up, cool down, repeat, rinse, heat up, rinse, cool down, repeat sort of thing. But while I was in the sauna, I could tell today I've been losing my voice. You could probably hear it in the podcast. And I felt it was symbolic of what I've been doing lately. Is I've been holding myself back. Like down on the trip, I didn't break out the camera. I didn't record a single video. I didn't do anything creative. I didn't do any journaling. I just basically looked around and explored that. That was the extent of what I did down there. And I realized I've just been holding myself back, and it hasn't been, that doesn't feel right. Like I wasn't feeling good about how I was conducting myself down there. I wasn't using my voice. I wasn't putting myself out there in any way. And I avoided doing video. I avoided being visible online. I avoided any scrutiny. And to be honest with you, digging the path into the sauna felt like the whole experience, the getting stuck, the gouging of the ground, getting pissed off, getting exhausted, and then saying, you know what, screw it. I got this. I'm going to go in and do it again. Like that was like my life. I was digging that path to the sauna. Felt like a lot like what I've been doing with my own life lately. The path is there, but there's shit I have to move out of the way. There's things I have to do that I don't want to do, that I don't want to face. But you know what? If I don't face it, it just hardens like this heavy, wet cement like snow. And I just have to keep digging. I have to keep going. On another note, something that's hit me on a personal level is the legend. Chuck Norris passed away the other day. And it's not because all the Chuck Norris jokes about him being immortal and when he does push-ups, he's not pushing himself up, he pushes the world down sort of thing. Yes, he was larger than life in some ways. And like am an absolute, I don't want to say diehard fan, but a pretty big fan of Walker, Texas Ranger, and what he did there with his crew. Shout out to Judson Mills. What you wrote on Instagram about Chuck was really special and sweet. And I just want to say thank you if you ever happen to listen to this podcast. And I never met Chuck Norris. The closest I ever came to anything to do with him is because I have friends in Texas, I've been on locations where they shot the show, not at the time they were shooting it, but after the fact, like I'd recognize certain things. That's as close as I ever came to anything Chuck Norrisy. But he was part of my life in some important formative late teenage, early 20s part of my life. And he always seemed indestructible. He always seemed strong, capable, and handle things in a way that were just honorable and always in sync with what he wanted to show the world was a way to conduct yourself. And now they were the grown-ups, and now they're in their 80s and they're passing, and it means the baton's been passed to people like me. We're the people now that are to inspire the ones behind us. But the losing Chuck also reminded me of the recent loss of my dad. He passed away August 21st, 2021. And losing your parents, or in my case, my larger-than-life dad, it changes your perspective on things. It's not that you have endless time ahead of you. I'm now at a point where I'm fully cognizant of the fact, even if I make it to 100, there are now more years behind me than ahead of me. And I haven't exactly spent all of those years as constructively and as dedicated as I wanted to. And actually, I was talking with my friend about this last night. I go, I'm nowhere near where I wanted to be in life at this age because of my mental health setbacks. And I'm not ashamed of that, but I'm also not trying to let them be excuses for continuing to, I don't want to say fail, because I'm not a failure, but I've failed at being where I want to be at this point. And yes, I started to make quite the momentum with my coaching business, Revolutionize with Viva's coaching, and then I get a sideline from depression. And when every ounce of your energy is used just to function, this high functioning depression, it really makes it hard to have anything left over for anything except wake up, go to work, serve as best you can, come home, and try and have some sort of life that's worth living after work. And it's hard when you're depressed. It is really hard. Anyways, after 50, death isn't theoretical. There's math you start doing. One of the math equations I've been working on is literally how much longer can I live in my remote rural home. It's a lot of work. And the storm just recently reaffirmed how much work it is to live out here, how much energy it takes, how much time it takes, how much money it takes. And those things are not an endless supply. I make decent money at what I do, but it's not an endless amount of money. And there's only so much I can do, only so much things I can invest in terms of equipment to make life easier out here. I've also been reflecting on, do I want to remain in Canada? I recently did some consulting. I was consulting with, not consulting for, but they were basically helping me get some information about this national interest waiver program for Canadians to enter the United States. And I apparently am a good candidate. It's a 2.5 to 3 year process. And if I'm going to do this, I'd like to get to the States while I'm still relatively young. So I have to decide, okay, I'm going to do it or stop talking about it and continue dedicated to making a life for myself in Canada. And I can make a whole episode on why I want to choose the United States over Canada. Maybe I'll do that in a future episode. If you'd like to hear that, leave a comment and perhaps I will. But yeah, when I was young, guys like Chuck Norris were the grown-ups, and now they're passing on and they're passing the baton on to my generation. And that changes how you think about things. You reach an age where you start to realize the time left is short and you have to be a little more tactical about how you're using that time. And that's why I swear to God, that printer, I don't know if the microphone picks it up or not. Maybe Descript's AI will take those background noises out. I don't know. But anyways, the realization that life is short is a clarifying thought. It really makes you wake up, smell the roses, and go, yep, I have to make some decisions and start taking some committed action to the goals I want to achieve. Moving on. This episode is going to be titled Yeah, we have to save that for later. Okay. In this day and age, being a man is trickier than probably it's ever been. A lot of men, myself included, there are times when they get quiet. They're responsible, they're reliable, competent, but they're not really expressing their desires, their true needs. They're not doing the things necessarily that they truly want to do with the time that they have left. They may start living a little on the small side. I know I have at times. They stop taking risks. They stop sharing what they're really thinking about, what really matters to them. They stop going after what it is they really want in life. They stop having that joie de vivre, that zest, that mojo, and they trade that for being secure. They trade their true voice for maintaining peace in their marriage, peace at work, peace with their families, and it's a very big price that we pay when we do that. And we may be doing it for all the right reasons. There's no denying that. But we're trading dreams and that, I can't think of the right word right now. But that zeal, the zest, the bam in life. They're trading that for a paycheck, a steady job, a steady marriage, a steady family life. They can hit 55 or 60 and go, is this all there is? Perhaps you're stricken with what I have, high functioning depression. And from the outside looking in, anyone goes, geez, so-and-so, that Bill, he's got it made. He's got his RSPs, he's got his pension. He's can start traveling in about 2 more years when he can start collecting CPP and OAS. And those are Canadian old age stuff. Everything on the outside looks good. Everything on paper looks good. Inside, you're just not all there. It's not clicking. It's not aligning. It's not making that engine rev anymore. And that's why I became a life coach. That's why I started Viva's coaching. That's why I started Revolutionize coaching. Viva's coaching is for men 50 plus, 45, 50 plus that are successful but want to take that to that next level, to the next thing that's going to excite them. And Revolutionize is for health professionals specifically. But that's why I started coaching. That's also why I started this podcast, to talk about, have conversations about. Everyone's got an opinion. Lucas, seriously. This is about as raw as it gets. I've had a printer act up. I've had the dog come on the podcast. I need to drink some water because I'm still thirsty from my sauna today. If you're watching the video, you might go, gee, his eyes look bloodshot and looks red. That's the sauna afterglow. But that's also why I've committed to using my voice more. I don't know how much you know about the body's energy centers, but there's the crown, third eye, the throat chakra, there's a sacral chakra, not sacral, there's a solar plexus chakra, heart chakra, sacral and root chakras. The throat chakra is all about your self-expression. And I've been struggling with mine for years will you stop it now? To speak in my true voice. I got to give him his evening treat. 1 second, folks. Sorry. German Shepherds are very German. It's time to do what you're supposed to do. All right. All right. And to that end, I'm going to be creating more content for the Revolutionize YouTube channel, which currently doesn't exist, for the Vivas Coaching YouTube channel, for this YouTube channel. Basically, I have to be on camera more. I have to be more talking to you people. Oh, not a Don Cherry, you people, just you people. You have to be Canadian to get that on. I'm not going to explain it, but you can look up Don Cherry and you people and see what happened to him. This afternoon, when I was sitting in the sauna and I realized that I've been quiet, I feel stifled, I've been depressed, I'm been feeling stuck. I just haven't felt like I've been doing what I need to do to further my goals to make life coaching one of my major revenue sources. And also, it's the way I want to make my new impact in the world is through coaching people to become the best they can possibly be. So I was sitting in my sauna and I made the decision, I'm done staying quiet. I'm going to use my voice. I'm going to be talking about depression. I'm going to talk about how one can start to get stuck. I'm going to be talking about reinventing your life. I'm going to be talking about life after 50. I'm going to be talking about freedom. I'm going to be talking about designing your life. I'm going to be talking about who knows where this is going to lead, but I know staying quiet, not being true to my own nature to want to help people. That's all I've done my whole life is wanted to help people. And this is my new way of helping people. And I have to start putting myself out there so people know, hey, this guy resonates with me. I want to get him to help me. That doesn't happen if I'm not out there making valuable content for people just like you. So I have to use my voice while I'm still alive in this lifetime, while I can still make a difference, while I still have the energy, the oomph to make a difference, a chutzpah. I think that's the right term. We're going to end today with a campfire question. If you knew you only had 10 years left, what would you change? Wow. What would I change if I only had 10 years left? I would focus so much more on sharing my wisdom with those that want to hear it. I would really stop caring about what other people think. I don't know why to this day, I try not to let it affect me, but it definitely does. If I only had 10 years left, I would stop being apologetic. I would just say it like it is. And if you don't like it, you don't have to like me. You can move on. You can go see someone else. You can be someone else's friend. I would stop playing small to keep other people comfortable. And I think those are things I have to work on still, despite being a life coach, despite being a certified high performance coach, despite helping people triple and quadruple their businesses, despite helping people find their voice, despite all the things I've done, I still am not doing everything I should be doing. And I'm a work in progress just like anybody else. You're still a work in progress, but are you making progress? That's the real question. Hey, if you've made it with me this long, thank you so much for listening to Out Here Finding Freedom After 50. I'm your host, Tom. I always love your questions. I always love your comments. You can leave them here on YouTube. You can leave them on Spotify. You're welcome to send me an email. What email am I using for this one? Tom@revolutionize.me or vivascoaching@gmail.com. Those will both get to me. Sorry, it's been so long since I recorded an episode, I couldn't even remember what episode or what email address I was using for the show. I'm not even sure what episode this is. I think it's 7. But lucky number 7? Who knows? Apparently 90% of podcasts don't make it to episode 10, and I'm not going to let that be me. We're going to take this well beyond episode 10, my friends. Please send me your questions, send me your comments. If you're interested in learning more about how I can help you working one-on-one through coaching, vivascoaching@gmail.com or tom@revolutionize.me. I'll get back to you and we can definitely talk about it. All right. Thank you so much for listening. We will catch you in the next episode. Ciao, everyone.